Hi guys, today it will be a reaction video. I want to show you someone who just realised that a company, let alone being friends with a once video game director, might give you special perks, but just like an affair, it only lasts for a short period of time, within this case, 4 months. Yes, I'm talking about Eddie, who goes by the name Unifadewalker. Just to say, please do not harass this person. I'm just using this clip as someone who is that naive and self-entitled has suddenly been hit by reality like a double-decker bus. But for those who have not kept up, this is the shill that shilled so hard for Dragon Age the Fail Guard. They got early access codes and promoted it as if it was her religion.
Here to give you an introductory guide. Bioware have promised us one of the best character creators, and I think they've delivered, because I think this is the best character creator in the franchise. But what do you think?
I want all of you to look at it!
As you can see are your pronouns and gender, and they are separate. You've got he, him, she, her, and they, them, and then your gender is man, woman, non-binary. Love that. Love the inclusivity.
Current fucking day! Fuck off!
The one that blew my mind. Top surgery scars are also included in this for all of our trans and non-binary rooks out there. I absolutely was blown away by this. It's beautiful to see the inclusion in the game, and to see yourself represented in the game in this way is wonderful. So
Did she get money for it? I don't know, but I highly doubt it after I saw this video, as she only got early access codes and clout, and that gravy train is now over. Hi, I'm Mux15, and let's dive into this stupidity. And if you want to support me further, subscribe to my socials and let's make a kingdom.
Assemble the army.
So I want to show you this clip and go through it, of how the cult of progressivism as well as corporate really thinks of you when you find out you have no investment or interest to them whatsoever. And even if you shill, sing their praises or attack or silence the people showing you and the others what's really going on, you are still disposable. I'll go through the important bits as the stream within itself, but this is a lesson to many why these people should never be taken seriously and why you should never feel sorry for them. But let's roll the clip.
where do I begin? Let's have a look at the layoffs, shall we? Boom. All right, so let's take a look at what Bioware said in their Bioware Studio update. I will read it for you and then I will translate it for you because this is corporate bullshit. So, Bioware Studio update. Hello, everyone.
Yep, there we go. She is seething and we haven't got through to the first sentence. So she already knows she got played.
Today, we are turning towards the future and preparing for the next chapter in BioWare's story. As we announced in August 2023, we are changing how we build games to meet the needs of our upcoming projects and hold ourselves to the highest quality standards. Are you? Are you though?
After the PR hole you dug for yourself this past, I'd say you're lucky we're putting on this farce at all. But hey, it's your party. You can cry if you want to.
Let's fucking delve in further. Now that Dragon Age the Veilguard has been released, a core team at BioWare is developing the next Mass Effect game. So everybody who's telling you that BioWare is shutting down, fucking liars. I'm sorry.
We didn't say BioWare is shutting down, we said the studio called Edmonton Studios that BioWare owns is shutting down, as they are the very ones who made Dragon Age the Veilguard. This is why she knows nothing about the real world, let alone corporate. If you're restructuring by letting people go because a franchise, let alone a $250 million project, failed and it didn't even make net revenue, then yes, it would mean you will be shutting down studios as well as downsizing to compensate for the losses. No wonder she's so gullible.
BioWare is now transitioning from having multiple projects all at once to having one project at a time. I think it was Mark Dara made a video about it on YouTube, I think, showing the structure of how BioWare has moved throughout the years, going from working on multiple projects at once. So like when a game finished, the devs would start work on like DLCs and stuff. We know that Veilguard isn't going to have any DLCs and stuff. Like they've pretty much put Dragon Age to bed at this point to fully focus on Mass Effect. So Mass Effect is in production, early production granted, but Bioware is not closing. They are focusing on Mass Effect, which is a huge weight on Mass Effect, because if Mass Effect doesn't perform, then I don't know how they're going to recover. But let's read on. Bioware is developing the next Mass Effect game under the leadership of veterans from the original trilogy, but not the people that wrote it. Not the people that wrote it though, right? Not the people that wrote it. So think of all the characters that the devs who have been let go wrote. Like didn't Trick Weeks co-write Garrus Vakarian? Morden fucking Solus? What veterans?
But the Dragon Age veterans were not there, were they? Bioware got rid of them in the layoffs. Kareem Bush and Gary McKay fired them, while others couldn't cope with seeing what they created been destroyed and not allowed to say anything, like Mary Kirby, who wrote and created Varric and the Canary race. And let's not forget, there is still a lawsuit going on, as the veterans were not allowed to put their work on Dreadwolf, which the game was originally supposed to be called, on their portfolios due to the NDAs. But did Bioware think of them? Of course not, and now the karma has now come back to you and the writers who have been laid off.
You bastards! You vicious, heartless bastards!
Let's read more. So, including Mike Gamble, recently tweeting replies to Elon Musk, but that's neither here nor there. Preston, I'm not going to try and butcher people's names, but Derek Watts and Parishley and others not listed here. These are the only ones that matter, apparently. In keeping with our fierce commitment to innovating during the development and delivery of Mass Effect, we have challenged ourselves to think deeply about delivering the best experience for our fans, but not us. Not us. No, fuck your representation. You guys don't get it.
Yep, she said the quiet part out loud. My representation, or should I say, my grift, is now under threat, and now it's fading. It has to be about me.
We fired a lot of people, and now we're just going to... But why were the... So, like, let's backtrack for a split second. Most of the diverse representative writers are now gone. So why are these people left? Like, it's giving me...
Because they're the only talented ones left and didn't get laid off a few years back. When you see that these veterans are the only ones left, you know Bioware is in trouble and they are desperate.
Boils down to is that we're in a political climate right now where unfortunately the scapegoat is inclusion. And I'm worried that Bioware are moving away from inclusion. And in like a couple of years, unless Mass Effect turns out to be utter trash, because I trust, here's a huge spanner in the works. Here's a huge spanner in the works. And I want you guys to walk with me through this one because it's going to sound bizarre. But if the anti-woke crowd get a game that is completely anti-woke, that has no representation in it at all, and they still fucking hate it because the story is bad or the game is bad, it's fucking... Do you know what I mean? Like, if it's over. The anti-woke crowd say we just want a good game, but they'll blame inclusion in games as to the reason why the game is bad. If
this is the chef's kiss of copium, but at the same time, she's trying to make the argument that you can't please the anti-woke crowd either, because even if you make a game what they want without all the inclusion, which really she means the message agenda in the game, they won't buy it either. So you might as well die on this hill with me, guys. You might as well appease to us LMNOP people, because it's far too late and you're far too deep. And she's right in that case. But yeah, Bioware have lied too many times over 3 massive failures in the space of 15 years. You think gamers still trust them now? I mean, I highly doubt it. She can think for herself and she knows what's going on, but the copium is just too strong because she got played just like her so-called allies who wrote this abomination of a Dragon Age story.
Mass Effect turns out, if Mass Effect goes full the other way and it turns out to be just a exclusive white man shooter and they still don't like it, it's... When Mass Effect comes out, BioWare is either going to be praised by the anti-woke crowd for pandering to them and for making a game that is exclusionary and basic as shit, or they're going to hate it because I trust that at the end of the day, if a game is shit, they will call it out.
She knows it in her soul. BioWare is finished. So why is she upset? Right, because her shilling grift is coming to an end. Just like what happened to the writers and the directors who got laid off. She's not only angry that BioWare no longer needs her, but her investment is under attack. Because people can now see the con and the person who Eddie really is.
Being a company that is pro-representation, and then there's an awful lot of vitriol because people didn't like Veilguard. There's an awful lot of stuff going around because like EA reported that Veilguard underperformed and didn't pull in enough engagement or enough revenue that they wanted.
It's not that they wanted, they had to. They need to make a profit. This isn't a $250 million passion project. The more money they put into this, the higher the risk that they won't make net revenue. This is why I keep saying investment, not passion project. Representation or inclusion has no space in this. Money does not care about your precious fifis. So no wonder you look like a 5-year-old child in a 30-year-old's body because you can't seem to fathom that. Now, the reason why she looks like she's going to cry into a pillow is because it's the first time she realised she is a nobody and only a customer like the rest of us. And this is her biggest insecurity, that she doesn't want to be a normal average person. She wants to be pampered and protected by video game companies that appease to her made-up delusional fantasy world that has now crumbled. Everything that she worked so hard for to chill was all a waste of time. Her good friend, Kareem Bush, and her so-called LGBTQ allies have completely abandoned her. The sheer entitlement and the nerd to think that a company owes her something just goes to show how naive she is. Because, pro tip, a company does not owe you anything, and even if you work for them, which she doesn't by the way, you are a number to them. The only thing they owe you is a paycheck upon the agreed amount you're willing to work for them. But is she going to realise that? No, of course not, because it's about me. About how I'm a victim of not being represented in the video game world. We always keep circle jerking back to the nepotism and narcissism because it's all that she's ever known. I mean, it's that famous quote, you might have changed the scenery, but you haven't changed the situation.
I'm in a position now.
No,
where
you're
for the
not in
first
that position.
time,
What is that position?
I don't think BioWare has the right intentions, and
Yeah, they didn't have the right intentions when they hired the wacky weirdos like Trick Weeks, Kareem Bush, and John Epler in the first place. Let's not forget, they fired the very veterans who knew their craft and knew how to deliver an awesome video game, a work of art. Because of course, they are not, as she would say, on the right side of history. Meaning they will not allow characters like Tosh to exist in the game. And don't get me started on those cutscenes again. Now that the carnage has unfolded, they have now felt the pain and what it means to trim the fat and getting rid of incompetent people like you. And it goes for the directors and the writers who did not meet the expectations and the quotas on sales. EA's wallet has a big gaping hole that needs to be sewn shut immediately. And in order for that to happen, they had to let you guys go.
But your side is attempting to alienate like 80 to 70 to 80% of gamers, and your side is trying to keep trans people, people of color, and women
That's a lie.
out of gaming.
When I see this part, this just ties everything together in one about why things in the video game industry are failing. Because we have Parasite who has the same mind process as this person. The moments that people in chat are saying absolute brutal truths, that we are all the same, regardless of our backgrounds, genders, or sexualities, we are gamers first, and she comes out with this rant, just shows how much she wants to defend her own fantasy of representation matters, and anyone that disagrees with her is the enemy. I can do anything because I am entitled to, because I'm a victim, and this is why things are regressing. This is why your game prices have shot up. This is why the economy is fucked, and gaming companies are panicking right now. They wanted the easy option. Everything has to evolve around me. That has happened so many times, rather than listening to actual gamers and solving actual problems. Walker doesn't speak for every single gamer out there. All of this is just pure sensation and pure fiction. It's people like her that needs to stay away from positions of power and finances.
Fucking wait.
It's funny because like people like that that are like, you're alienating 70 to 80%
You
of
are.
people. Well, you're alienating people as well. Like, why is it a double standard?
This is what's known as swings and roundabouts. This is the SJW's favourite weapon, is the swings and roundabouts, or what I call assumptions and whataboutisms. This is what I mean. Tap into people's anxieties and insecurities. Use the race and gender trap card. Guilt trip them. Cancel them if you have to. Anything to get the instant gratification that you deserve because you're a victim. You have been oppressed for far too long. We need it so bad because without it, we're just an ordinary person who has to solve their own struggles in life because it's too damn hard. I want to be protected and pampered like a 5-year-old child in my own make-believe world. I mean, this entire stream is just about swings and roundabouts mixed in with woe is me tears into the cocktail.
They are leaning to the money. Capitalism is not our friend. No.
It's right there. The point is right here. It's here. And they refuse to see it. And it drives me like off
It
the
is
wall.
not, unfortunately.
That's what I'm fucking saying.
And it seems like Bioware is going that way. But it does feel very much like they are shifting towards pandering to the anti-woke crowd, which is such a sad step backwards. I'm afraid.
Of the people in a chat that are saying brutal truths tells you everything you need to know. And the reason why they hate capitalism, because capitalism can't be controlled. The financial market world is a bitch. It doesn't care about your precious fifis. If you don't adapt or provide a service people want, then that is it. You are done. You are wiped out. You have nothing. And this is what's happened to her and Bioware. You are bad product. Like a cancer that needs to be removed quickly before it kills the host, or in this case, kills the studio. The reason why people like Endwalker and even the writers and directors who got fired from Bioware are coping right now is because they don't want to admit they got played. But what's worse is they played themselves. They believed so blindly in what they are doing that making a profit or net revenue is not the goal, but owning the anti-woke or the chuds is. But why? Well, I said it and I said it again. Because actual gamers who don't buy the slop or call the con out is an attack on their very way of life, but a very unhealthy and mentally unhinged one, might I add. It's only now they realised that money, capitalism and investment doesn't care about your feelings or what you believe in. It only goes where there's a strong want or a need of a service that the majority of the population wants. And a big reason why, the fan base hates them, because 15 years of investment has been eradicated and the identity of the product is no longer there.
Congratulations, you found a waste bin.
Dragon Age is no longer Dragon Age, but a self-narcissistic injection into the minds of the people who hate gamers and what they stand for. This is why video game companies are crumbling right now, because the identity of the products are no longer there. The investment has been obliterated, as well as, of course, ridiculous spending and blockbuster budgets that are not needed. Or even what's currently happening at Ubisoft, who are desperately putting Assassin's Creed Shadows on life support, and the game hasn't even come out yet. We all know the controversy from pissing off the Japanese when they stated it was historically accurate by a historian who turned out to be unhinged and a con artist, to attacking players from all backgrounds who called this all out as well. But again, why didn't Ubisoft pull the plug and go back to the drawing board? Because again, it's in the hands of people who believe in this ideology so blindly and not focus on making profit. Only the chuds and the anti-woke is everything to them. But if you try telling Ubisoft that, they will do anything to get you censored, regardless if you know about Japanese culture or even if you have Japanese blood in your veins. I'm all for creative freedoms and freedom of speech. So let's play devil's advocate. If Ubisoft wanted to make a game to disrespect Japanese people and its culture, but don't expect to get away from the controversy scot-free, and if you decide to shut the conversation down, it just proves your hypocrisy with your DEI initiatives and policies. Think about Rockstar Games back in the glory days, who have been doing the GTA series. There were always a talk of controversies and even from Congress, but they never bent the knee, and in some cases they did caricatures of the very people who tried to get them cancelled. Until we get to 2022, when they patched out trans people who came out of cockatoos, because the activists threw a hissy fit that not only you can attack them, but they are hyper stereotypical and are caricatures. And when I mean by activists, I mean this weirdo, none other than Caroline Petit and the activists who worked at Kotaku at the time. Rockstar could have just said, well, everybody in this game is hyper stereotypical and hyper caricaturish. No one is safe. And it's your choice as the player. You can do whatever you want. But if you choose to hurt, kill, mug, or harass people, then there are consequences, as the police will show up and you'll be nothing but covered in bullet holes. So try to tell them that, but they'll try and get you cancelled or censored regardless. God, these days, is always rules for thee, but not for me. To hit this point home, I have friends who have hobbies that is an investment to them. I have a friend who loves flowers and even the art of flower arranging. Now, I'm not interested in flowers myself, but I was curious to ask her, why does she like it? She went into so much passionate depth about it and its history, what flowers represent and its meaning, when they bloom, how they are grown, and why certain flowers are rare. She even said flowers do have an impact in people's lives and even change the world. Now, she's not interested in video games, but when she asked me the same thing, I did the same thing and went into absolute passionate depth as well, and how it has an impact on people's creativity and imagination. But then I asked, how would you feel if someone came along, changed all of that into something that was destructive, narcissistic and exclusive, only because they were angry and hated flowers? And what's worse, they were never interested in the art altogether, and their false reasoning, they did it because of representation and inclusivity. She said, well, there'll be 25 years of investment, hard work and time that has been taken away not only from me, but from others who have done it longer, who all just started their journey, especially those who have handed down this work of art for centuries. Which brings me full circle in my conclusion. These activists and shills have a total disrespect and a total disregard of the video game culture and the player's investment. They believe so blindly that the reason why things are falling apart is because they've been excluded by the chuds or anti-woke, which really means anyone who can think for themselves, protect their investments or what's sacred to them, and even dismantle their ideology in seconds, is the enemy. Everything was fine and sacred until 2014, when people like Anita Sarkeesian and Zoe Quinn ruined everything and grifted upon vulnerable and desperate people's ever-present anxieties. Video game companies and even developers who didn't hold up the wall and instead remained in their bubble of comfort for far too long, which has now burst, allowed the greed, the nepotism and the narcissism to enter into the gaming space, which exacerbated the problem even further, which I'll do another video on this article another time. The video game world is starting to heal, but we've got long ways to go, and it all starts out by getting rid of the narcissistic cancer and those who have a total disrespect against the gamer's investment, who only think about me, that holds no importance. As they say, there is no honour among thieves, and that goes for SJWs and Marxists as well. Once the grift or the con has fallen apart, you are on your own. The very leaders will not come back to save you, which has now happened to Unifadewalker. Well, that's me finished talking, but what do you think? Do you think what I said was correct? Did I miss anything out? Or do you totally disagree? This is Wilkesy15 signing out.
A little respect, Stan. Something you should have given me.
What good would that do? Where would it even go? But to the bottomless, gaping pit of insecurity you call a soul.
Oh, God. You want to know something? I used to be intimidated by you. I did. And now I look at you, I have no idea why. Truly, you're not even pathetic. You're just nothing.
Then why are you still here? Looking for my approval like I'm your daddy? And even if I were, what would there be to approve of? The company is yours. No one left to stand up to you. But I think you'll come to sorely regret that.
And why is that?
Because there's no one left to cover for you either. Eventually, probably soon, the world will recognize you for the pitiful disappointment you are. You are not worthy of my respect. You are not a god. You are simply bad product.